Hello, are you busy? Really pressed for time? Do you struggle to get your work done in the time you have allotted? Do you wonder how some people get so much more done with no more time than you have? Well, these are issues for a lot of us. Today we're going to look at how extremely productive people get great results. And then we're going to break down the processes so that you can have the same tricks and strategies put to use in your life so you can get superior results as well. Now, the way to get superior results in our fast-paced world, where we all only have so much time to get our things done, is to make sure of one thing. You want to follow a system that is used by super productive people. So what we're going to uncover today is those secrets that drive super productive people to get more done than anyone else in the same amount of time. I'm Christine Burr, president of localeer.co, and let's get started. As we go through our day, we have a lot of tasks that we have to get finished. Lots of ideas we need to generate. And some are fantastic ideas that will really change our businesses, but some are just ordinary ideas that don't really deserve a lot of special consideration. When you are planning your time, it helps to think of your tasks as passengers you have to ferry from here, your starting point, to there, a completed project. If you visualize each task as a passenger that you need to deliver to a particular destination, it makes it easier to see how you should treat each one. So let's take a minute and start to prioritize how we're going to arrange them in your day. And then, just like on an airline, we're going to really revolve that around priority seating. VIP ideas and VIP tasks are those that lead to outsized results. Because they are more important to your success, you need to treat them like the VIPs they are. Give them priority seating, your best resources, your concentration and effort, and intentional priority consideration throughout your workday. So how do you do that? One way to prioritize everything is to start with a clear idea of what you want to accomplish. And that way you can make sure and schedule enough time for the things that you have to do, and then you can fill in the extra time with things that are less important, which is to say, less in service of your strategic objectives. If you map out your schedule and have a list of the must-accomplish things done in a way that provides you enough time and resources to get those accomplished, most everything else can wait. Another excellent strategy that really productive people use is to make sure you do the most important task first, so that you start your day with a win. That could not just be what is the most serious task you have to get done, but sometimes it means doing the thing that you'd least like to do first, so that it is out of the way. A lot of people call this sort of a tactic swallowing the frog, so that you have gotten the thing that you might otherwise shy away from accomplished quickly and with as little fuss as possible. Otherwise, it gets difficult, it gets emotionally draining, and especially when it calls on skill sets that may not be your most polished, you will want to tend to push that down your list. But if you must get it done, just do it first and get it out of the way, so that you can get on to other things for your schedule. Then also, most skill and goal setting problems involve your productive targets losing the fight for your attention activity. If you focus on what you must do and get them out of the way, then you'll be free to go on and fill your day with the things that would be nice to do. It's also very important to remember that your success flows from actions, not from plans. All the plans in the world do not make something so. Rather, success and achievements are the end result of a series of actions taken in service of those goals. Planning for success takes a lot of action. So when you're writing out your list of things to do, use a lot of verbs when you're mapping out your efforts. That way, the list itself will tell you what actions lead to your accomplishments and will help you identify how to set things in motion so that you'll have a success by the end of the day. It's also an excellent idea to remove all the non-essential activities that so rigorously compete for your attention and put them in the less productive areas of the day. Now, for most of us, that will be right after lunch. If you move non-critical, non-real-time communication to natural downtimes, say right when you come back from lunch, or when you're in a regular slowdown, that are still making use of your time, but not using your most productive time to work on your least productive tasks. So now let's talk about how to make sure you're keeping yourself in a highly efficient mode as long as possible. When we talk about efficiency, you want to think about what it is that you do well and focus as much as possible on maximizing your time with your best skill set. If you have things that have to get done and don't require your particular expertise, then just delegate it out. It's your responsibility to accomplish the task and to move your business forward, but it's not necessarily your responsibility to do each individual part. If you focus on doing what you do well and delegating to others the things that you don't do well, then everything gets done productively and usually in the correct time frame. Even so, you have to make sure that you are still the boss of your schedule. This means that delegates have to know when they have to report back to you, and they also have to know how to complete their jobs in a particular time frame. If you have touchstone meetings where people come back and report to you about what they've done and what they have accomplished, then you can really keep everything on track and make sure that you don't have synchronization issues with parts of your overall goal. You certainly want to avoid the stress that comes from having some parts of the project getting finished early while other parts lag behind. Additionally, we've all heard how great it is to multitask, but that really doesn't work well with the human brain. You want to be able to provide two things in service to your goals. You want to provide your attention, and you want to provide positive activities. Attention means that you have to be able to focus. And if you do something one thing at a time, all the way through, you will find that you get a great deal more done than if you have several different partially completed tasks on your desk at one time. Also, most parts of everyday work are things that are essentially semi-custom. They have components to them that need to be adjusted for each particular circumstance, but for the most part they often have common overall structures and frameworks that are the same from project to project. So as much as possible, use templates and standardization for how you do the parts of a task or accomplishments that do not need to be built from the ground up. This will save you a lot of time, and that way you can focus your expertise on the things that really take expertise to accomplish. Things that are less important and not mission critical should have to wait in line. When you think about things that can wait, certainly you want to be very hard on the things that are time wasters in your day. If you want to be productive and get a lot accomplished, then you have to use your time as wisely as possible. Most of us would rather be able to go home and do something else at the end of the day other than work. So if you want to have more leisure time, make sure that you aren't dragging out your projects longer than they have to take. And generally, if you're doing a job where you have a connection to the internet, that can mean making yourself very, very disciplined on how you access the internet and what you do when you're online. If you find you're getting yourself distracted, surfing the web, checking email all the time, that sort of thing, then make a strategy for yourself for eliminating your time for doing those sorts of activities, and make sure that you teach yourself how to use internet searches and other internet distractions as a break and not as a primary activity. One way to do that is to use time on the internet as a reward itself. So if you get a task all the way through completion, take a 5-minute break, surf around, waste your time, watch a video, that sort of thing. And then at the end of it, get yourself to the point where you can be disciplined enough to watch one thing, get finished, and then go back to work. Generally, this will involve giving yourself time limits for doing things that are non-critical. If you have difficulty with that, and it works better to have a hard interruption to get yourself back on track, then by all means use alarms and schedulers. Usually there are some included on your phone that can get that done for you. You can also just use a kitchen timer that you set yourself a particular amount of time to take a break, and when that time is up, go on to something else. This works well with doing work in what I like to call sprints. That is, you work on a task for a certain amount of time, and you should have a sense of your own internal rhythms to know how long you can concentrate on something and when your mind needs a break. When you generally get hungry and that sort of thing. and that will help you time how long you should work in a sprint. That way, when you're working, you're really working. Then when you're taking a break, you're really relaxing so that your mind does not get fatigued from always trying to concentrate for too long a period of time. And you don't waste time by essentially letting yourself spend too much time on non-productive activities. If your mind gets too tired, then you will inevitably get led to distractions during your workday. As we said earlier on, you should always treat your VIP ideas and obligations like VIPs. And then that also means treating the things that are not VIPs as much less important and making them wait. So if you have ancillary activities, things that would be nice to get finished but are not critical to what you're trying to accomplish at a particular time, set those to the side so that you're always working on the important things, and then you can make sure that you get less important things accomplished when all of your primary tasks are finished. So now let's talk about how to keep yourself essentially in sprint shape, and that is how you can keep yourself staying sharp. To do those sorts of things, you want to do the hard things when you are at your peak ability to pay attention and to get things finished. For most people, this is generally in the morning. As we said before, if you put your VIP issues at the front of the day, then you can do them when you're sharp and able to concentrate. You will do a better job on getting them completed. And also, you will have the time that you have to spend on a task spent wisely. Then, when you have less attention and a little bit less focused, you can leave that for things that are less taxing. Another way of staying sharp is to make sure that you're always involved in some sort of learning. And that's just a great thing to add as a general practice in your life. If you're accustomed to absorbing new information, synthesizing it, and putting it to use in a context where you might not be extremely well versed, you stay more flexible and your thought processes are welcome to new ideas. When you're working on an issue, you can also take steps to make sure that you're building on a nexus. Especially in business, many issues may have different areas that come together and have to be dealt with in a unified way. That means that you have to know your numbers, and you also have to know how your people make those numbers come into being. So if you can build a nexus between your cash flow and your employee relations, for example, that's an excellent interaction to focus on creating a nexus. That way you can make both of those better by improving each of the parts. Also, don't wait for problems to come to you. If you go out and deal with problems, especially when they're small, you can make sure that you have a day that is filled with strategic implementation and goal achievement, rather than having one where you're stuck in a tactical position and dealing essentially with putting out fires. For nearly every kind of problem and most every kind of business, the passage of time does not improve or make the solution of problems easier. The passage of time generally makes problems worse. If you deal with them when they're small, then you won't have your day disrupted. And then later on when they're big and they must be taken care of, you might have fewer resources to take care of them. This also works into being ready for the next thing, which all of us need to be forward-looking in how we deal with our businesses and take care of our schedule. Keep in mind that not only do you need to get finished with what you're supposed to accomplish right now, but you need to spend a bit of your attention on planning how to make a smooth path towards your next objective. Then finally, you want to build reward systems into your day. That way, you can associate working on a task as well as accomplishing it with a positive set of outcomes, which include how you're treated while you're completing a task. This will help you stay motivated and is an excellent part of staying focused on a task. After you've gotten something finished, give yourself a break, maybe some time to indulge yourself in some of those distractions that you had to leave for later on. And then also build in rest times into your sprint routine. Because no one can be 100% focused for 100% of the day. If you're taking care of being physically in shape and mentally in shape, then you can really focus and get a lot of headway towards your accomplishments while you're in the middle of a concentrated effort. This is one of the real benefits of building a sprint routine. Then, when you get to take a break and relax a little bit, then you can take the time to focus on the less important things on your list that don't take too much mental activity. But when it's time to go, you need to be ready and to get going. If you would like more information on these or other ideas about how to make your business successful, come on by and give us a visit. You can reach us at LocaleerBusiness Services and be happy to meet with you. You can find us on the web at biz.localeer.co. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you soon.